Good morning. Please be seated. Dr. Nancy Smith, Professor and Dean of the School of Social Work, will officially open the ceremony.
Good morning and congratulations to graduates. Round of applause. And also to family and friends who made it possible for graduates to do this. So please, a warm welcome for those folks. Well, you did it. It's been a long haul for all of you, some longer than others, depending on which program you did. And it's always dangerous to put a member of your faculty up in front of you just before you leave, because I have to, of course, get in a few words. And I'm afraid that I'm going to bring up a topic you're probably sick of hearing about at this point. Self-care, right? But you're starting on your journey as full-fledged social workers now. And you chose this profession because you want to change the world in some way, whether you're working with individuals, groups, communities, organizations, families, social policy, at any level of our society. And here's the thing about social work is we don't require a lot of equipment, right? You can go and take picture of scientists and engineers and people doing things, but social workers, our equipment is us. We are our tools and the relationships that we build. And this, I think, is really why self-care becomes so important for us, because if our tool becomes damaged, our ability to change things won't happen. And yet I know from talking to many of you and from my own struggles that prioritizing our own needs isn't easy for us. We come to this profession because we are givers. And I won't ask you to identify yourself with raising your hand about how many of you struggle with prioritizing your needs, but I know from talking to you, it's a lot. And I know our faculty has had some of the same struggles. 6 weeks after September 11th, I saw a newspaper article from one of the New York papers that was heralding the devotion of a nurse. And after the attacks, this nurse, she was remarkable. She just volunteered and volunteered and volunteered. And she helped so much that she actually died. She just died suddenly. Probably it was a heart attack, I don't remember. And she was held out as sort of a hero. This was sort of the hero martyr. And I remember being really angry about that because, so there's that brief flash, this wonderful hero. And yet I asked myself, how many people would she have continued to help had she lived? And did she really need to die? I mean, sometimes people die when they're saving others in a way that it just sort of happens, but I don't think this was the case. And it really had to get to sort of the ways that she was helping so much that she was hurting herself. So earlier this month, I got to hear Adam Grant, who is a management professor at the Wharton School and a best-selling author. He talked about people-oriented leadership, which sounds like a really good fit for our profession. And he's looked at many different types of organizations and found that there's sort of 3 types of people in terms of their strategies for how they work. There's givers, takers, and matchers. And matchers are those people who well, I'll give to this person because they gave to me, and they're sort of keeping tally. Takers, well, that kind of sort of speaks for itself. They don't focus much on giving. They mostly focus on optimizing things for themselves. And sometimes doing things with people that we would not probably feel very comfortable with. And then givers. And Adam Grant looked at who's the most successful in leading organizations and when you have them as employees. And initially it looked like takers, but then it turned out that the giver category was very complicated. Givers were overrepresented among those who failed, but they also were overrepresented among those who succeeded. In fact, when they succeeded, they were much better than takers. And so he looked more closely at that, and it really turned out that this other category of successful givers made the best leaders and the best colleagues, and that when organizations had them, all different types, they had higher success rates at what they did. And it turned out that to be a successful giver, you had to not burn out by sacrificing yourself. You had to figure out how to sort of do that balance. And so he looked more carefully at that, and I think you'll hear some things that will sort of ring true for us. First off, they set boundaries on their availability. So if they were going to help people, maybe I'm real good at mentoring folks, and so I actually set aside times to be available for that. But also realizing I don't have to be the one to help everybody with everything. That, I used to do tons on trauma and trauma-informed care, and then we got this amazing faculty here who is focusing their work on it, and as dean, I've been focusing on other things. So when I get requests now to speak on trauma and trauma-informed care, I hand them off to our amazing Institute on Trauma and Trauma-Informed Care because they do a much better job than I do, and there are other things I can focus on. And so setting those boundaries and figuring out where can I help best and where can I sort of work in other people to help. But what was really helpful for people to be successful was they ask for help for themselves and they advocate and assert for themselves. So they're not timid, they're willing to advocate. But when they advocate for themselves, they do it in a way that also brings in the needs of others. So this idea that it's either me versus others is not something that exists in the mind of a successful giver. So a woman who's maybe looking for a transfer from an office in Africa where she's been working for many years to a New York City office where everybody wants to go has a hard time advocating when it's just her. But when she frames it as, well, I'll be closer to my family and I can help my family, now she can do it in a way that she doesn't feel like a taker. She feels like she's also supporting the needs of other people. And I think for me, that was really an important sort of question to ask ourselves is, how can we help ourselves prioritize our well-being while seeing it as something that also is helping other people? Adam Grant calls this being other-ish. He invented this word. He's basically focusing on others, but bringing in self as part of that process. And always asking, who else shares the interests? If I'm needing to advocate for a higher salary for myself, how can I frame this in a way that maybe looks for higher salaries for other social workers, or to know that I'm setting precedent for the people coming after me who are young women, maybe who can't feel comfortable advocating just for themselves. But when I start to say I'm setting precedent for other women, I can now advocate for myself. Or I do it because I know that my family needs it. So this idea of bringing in others as part of our self-care, I think, is a perspective that I think makes it easier for us to think about helping and also about caring for ourselves. So I would encourage you that to take this perspective if you're struggling with prioritizing your needs. If you're not struggling, that's terrific. Go with that. But most of us do struggle with that, and the issue is how to frame it in a larger context. Because the reality is we are all interconnected. And when I'm not well, I'm not able to do the helping part well. And so if I can say, well, I should get a good night's sleep tonight to take care of myself, maybe it doesn't feel as compelling to me to say I should get a good night's sleep tonight so I can be there tomorrow to do a fabulous job with the people I work with. And that is part of what can make us sustainable in very hard work that's ahead, regardless of the type of social work that you do. So as you head out into your journey as a social worker, look for how you can give and also support yourself. If something that you're doing is hurting you, ask yourself how you being hurt is going to affect others around you. And then do it for both those reasons, the fact that you're trying to actually limit the hurt to others. Reject the choice that it's your needs versus others. So when you look for solutions, look for the solutions that work for both, for self and others, because they're out there, and we can reject that false dichotomy. You truly will make a bigger difference in the world. Thank you for choosing an awesome profession.
At this time, if you are able, please rise for the national anthem.
the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang loud, the bombs bursting in them gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce members of our platform party. University of Buffalo President Satish Tripathi, Vice President for Enrollment Management Lee Melvin, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs Robert Granfield, this year's distinguished guest speaker Rawa Gurmatsian, UB Alumni Association Board of Directors member Rita Andalina, and the School of Social Work faculty, administration leadership, PhD graduates, and the class of 2018 Graduate Student Association officers and representatives from the College of Arts and Sciences and School of Public Health and Health Professions. It's with great pleasure that I introduce President Tripathi, this year's degree conferrer, who will make a few brief comments.
Good morning. I would like to offer a warm welcome and a heartfelt thank you to the parents, family members, and friends joining us today. Your graduates have come this far in no small part thanks to your thoughtful guidance and your study support. And today we gather to recognize our graduates' achievement for the milestone it is and to celebrate the capstone for their hard work. With that, let me be among the first to wish the School of Social Work class of 2018 congratulations. You have come a long way. Your journey to today has been marked by dedication and perhaps frustration, by study and self-reflection, by trial and error, and by more late nights than you may care to remember. Along the way, you embraced your new modes of thinking. You debated issues from different angles. You transferred your classroom learning to the real-world challenge. You found your purpose and you pursued your passion. Throughout this transformative process of enlightenment, you have gained priceless knowledge about your field of study and, just as important, about yourself. So if I ask you, class of 2018, to single out the most important aspect of your academic program that has brought your education to life, what would that be? Don't worry, it is not a test. But as you embark on the next phase of your life, it is a question worth pondering. Although it has been many years since I sat where you sit today, I would argue that the most profound learnings do not just take place in a lecture hall. We don't read them in textbooks or discover them inside a lab. They don't come to us out in the field. Truth be told, education cannot be captured in a single moment. It is ongoing, continuous, and constantly evolving. And with every stride we take, we seek a true understanding of respect given, and of respect earned. Respect, compassion, integrity, and justice are cornerstones of UB's guiding principles. We respect each other even when we have divergent life experiences. We respect those in our care by treating them compassionately. And we respect what we have learned by putting that precious knowledge to its best use, namely to address society's most pressing problems. Your UB education, truly the entire scope of UB experience, has elevated your consciousness about the world around you. It has primed your sense of civic, professional, and ethical responsibility, values you will tap every day of your life. It has stoked your sense of purpose, indeed your sense of greater purpose. At the start of the academic year, we welcome to campus Malala Yousafzai, the education rights activist who has earned respect the world over for her courage and her convictions. When Malala accepted the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014, she noted that the progress and development were happening only in certain parts of the world. However, Malala said, there are many countries where millions suffer from the very old problems of war, poverty, and injustice. Malala continued in saying, let us become the first generation to decide to be the last that sees empty classrooms, lost childhoods, and wasted potentials. It is my sincere hope that your UB education has provided you with the intellectual resources grounded in respect, compassion, integrity, and justice to do not only good things with your life, but to do great things with your life. Throughout your education, you have already done much of this in this regard. For instance, we have witnessed how you have helped veterans find homes and jobs, collaborated with nonprofits to solve social issues, and worked with high schools to create anti-racism programs and foster inclusive dialogue. Your education here has set the stage for the rest of your life. It is your time to put your imprint on the world around you by contributing to the world around you. Class of 2018, I have every confidence that as you go out in the world, you will make a better and brighter place. We look forward to seeing the impact of all of your accomplishments. Congratulations on your great achievement and all the best wishes on the road ahead.
President Tripathi, Dean Smith, honored guests, faculty, staff, members of the graduating class, your friends and family, it is my pleasure to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Rawa Gurmatzian. Rawa Gurmatzian was born in Asmara, Eritrea, in the middle of a civil war. She came to Western New York as a refugee at the age of 8 with her family after living in Sudan. She was educated in Buffalo Public Schools and at the University of Buffalo. In 2016, she became Deputy Director of People United for Sustainable Housing, Push Buffalo, a community organization that works with grassroots to create and implement a comprehensive revitalization plan for Buffalo's West Side. With more than $25 million invested in affordable housing rehabilitation, weatherization, and green infrastructure. She was the recipient of the 2013 Community Leaders Arts Award from the National Federation for Just Communities. Please help me in welcoming Rawa Germatsian.
Good morning. Thank you for the honor of allowing me to address you on this defining milestone on your life's journey. I would like to thank President Satish Tripathi, Dean of the Social Work Nancy Smith, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management Lee Melvin, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs Robert Granfield, Dana Horn, who's Assistant Dean for Student and Academic Affairs and Director of Student Services. Also, Tara Petty, President of the School of Social Work Graduate Student Association, and all other faculty. A special thanks to all the parents and family members. This is your day as well. To the class of 2018, you did it. All the sweat, blood, and tears for this moment. Congratulations. I must admit that I've actually been a ball of nerves and felt a lot of pressure over the last few weeks as I was preparing to be here with you at your commencement. I kept thinking, what could I possibly have to say to these brilliant graduates who have already accomplished so much? At this great institution, you have acquired the skills, you've been given the tools, and empowered with the purpose of helping people. After much thought, what came to my mind to say to you is that you can change the world. It's true. For example, in the words of my favorite author, Octavia Butler, she writes, "All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change." Not to overwhelm you or set you up for an unattainable goal, I should share with you that I know a little bit of what I'm proposing to you, to be an agent of change. As a community development and climate change worker, I'm working to dismantle the current structural systems that oppress people, especially as they relate to people of low income, people of color, people with disabilities, and people from the LGBTQ community. I have been told that the School of Social Work may be offering a community organizer certificate. My hope is that it will also be accessible to actual organizers that are of and from the communities they serve. I will also warn that professionalizing of community organizing can bring unintended consequences. I also know that it works well when it is integrated into a model like Push Buffaloes, and more, I've been hiring social workers to work in partnership with community organizers to deepen authentic relationships, to address trauma, and to promote self-care. My wish is that as the school rolls this out, they will partner with local organizing agencies. In my line of work, as a community organizer, traditional principles taught us that to be considered a good organizer, you must build power, and you do that by organizing people or organizing money. If you can do both, then you're considered a great organizer. I can do both, yet I never ascribed to this traditional model. I found what I experienced in this model was burnout, that it is an extractive approach that perpetuates the same systems of the dig, burn, dump worldview that has been used to cause the current ecological devastation and exploitation of workers. We, the community organizers, were causing harm by using the same tactics of the corporations we were fighting, challenged by the reality that we could not escape, which is to build real power, we do need to organize and build a power base. However, that only takes you so far. because much of it is built by capitalizing on people's anger and fear. Over the past decade at Push Buffalo, we've been challenging ourselves to rethink how we engage and build power with people. We start by seeing whole people and not numbers, issues, or campaigns, and with the interest to create space for healing. Our methods have been evolving and iterative, always going deeper and longer in how we create resilient and regenerative people and communities. Today, our organizing model uses 3 frameworks in overlaying concentric circles. Traditional power organizing, of course, organizing of building a power base, focused on creating policy and advocacy. The Just Transition framework, which is a system to change at the structural level, away from an extractive economy that promotes the current worldview of capitalism, heteropatriarchy, and fossil fuel extraction, and moves through a value filtration using a process to shift economic control to communities, democratize wealth and workplace, advances ecological restoration, drives racial equity and social equity, racial justice and social equity, relocalizes most production and consumption, and retains and restores cultures and traditions into a regenerative economy whose worldview centers on caring and sacredness. Simply, how can we be in right relationship with nature and natural systems? How can we be in right relationship with our communities? And how can we be in right relationship with ourselves? Lastly, we use a framework that y'all are very well versed in, trauma-informed care. The framework is helping us to address historical and current traumas, create space to validate people's lived experiences, to process and heal hurt. We call this the empowerment model, building power with and not power over. As you can imagine, this work of meeting people where they are is supremely difficult and incredibly messy. However, I want you to know that this work is purposeful, it's sacred, and transformative. Arundhati Roy tells us that another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Now, I say to you, graduates, go and be the revolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gurmatsian. It is with pleasure that I introduce Tara Petty, the president of this year's School of Social Work Graduate Student Association.
On behalf of the class of 2018, I would like to acknowledge and thank University President Satish Tripathi and UB senior leadership members Lee Melvin, Vice Provost for Enrollment Management, and Robert Granfield, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. I also want to thank Dean Nancy Smith, the distinguished professors, esteemed faculty, and the dedicated staff of the University at Buffalo School of Social Work for all of their hard work and commitment to providing quality education and training to all students. I also want to thank all of our friends and family who were instrumental in our journey here today. Personally, I want to thank my husband, Tony, and our 2 boys, Levi and Ian. The 3 of you are my motivation and my greatest pride. Thank you for your endless patience and unwavering support over the last 5 years as I have pursued my dreams. Well, here we are. We did it. Today is a day worthy of celebration and joy. For each of us here with our own compelling stories and courageous journeys, we can share in this accomplishment together. through all of the challenging moments, which at times threatened our own confidence, through the many late nights and numerous sacrifices made in order to meet deadlines, through tears of frustration, we survived. We overcame numerous obstacles in order to be here today. In my experience, people are often drawn to the field of social work as a natural extension of a significant personal experience, whether it be overcoming something difficult and wanting to help others navigate similar struggles, or as a culmination of various stories entwining themselves together to create a beautiful narrative which motivates them to create good in the world. Whatever drew you in, whatever motivates you, hold on to that. Your story is uniquely yours. And while we can join together and find common threads of stories among our colleagues and clients, you have something unique and wonderful to offer. Know what that is, own it, and use it when doubts and fears creep in. As Brené Brown said, the irony is that we attempt to disown our difficult stories to appear more acceptable, but our wholeness, even our wholeheartedness, actually depends on the integration of all of our experiences, including the falls. When I think about social work and about the type of work we are trained to do, I think about all of the incredible social workers I have met as a student, each one doing incredible work and creating change in the world. Now it is our turn to affect change and empower people. As we walk across the stage and officially enter this profession, we can do so knowing that we each possess the training, skills, and knowledge necessary to successfully navigate whatever unexpected hurdles we may face. Remember this feeling. Remember the joy, the sense of accomplishment, and all of the possibilities the future holds in this moment. Soak it in, savor it, hold on to it, and carry it with you. You earned it. And congratulations to the class of 2018. And now it is with great pleasure that I introduce my fellow graduate student officers in the School of Social Work, Lorianne DeVito, Treasurer, and Catherine Franco, Secretary.
On behalf of the graduating class of 2018 and the GSA, we, the officers of the Graduate School of Social Work, present Peter Sabota with the Faculty of the Year Award.
On behalf of the graduating class of 2018 and the GSA, we, the officers of the Graduate School of Social Work, present Dana Horn with Staff of the Year Award. And on behalf of the graduating class of 2018 and the GSA, we, the officers of the Graduate School of Social Work, present Tara Hughes with Adjunct Faculty Award of the Year. And on her behalf, we will accept the award and give it to her later. Perfect. Thank you.
Will the candidates for the degree of Master in Social Work please stand and remain at your seats? Where'd he go? Oh, there you are. President Tripathi, on behalf of the faculty of the university, I have the honor of recognizing these candidates. They've met all the requirements of the university and are recommended to you by the faculty for the Master of Social Work degree.
By the authority of the trustees and the Chancellor of the State University of New York and the council and the faculty of the University at Buffalo, I now confer upon you the Master of Social Work degree with all the rights and privileges thereto pertaining. Congratulations. You may now move your tassels from right to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Master of Social Work class of 2018. Congratulations.
Will the front row of graduates please remain standing? Everyone else, please be seated. Thank you.